Hello, hello, hello. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. Thank you for joining me on the Business Plugs Mixer. We air each Sunday here at 7 p.m. ish Eastern time. So thank you for joining us. Go ahead and like wherever you're viewing this recording, and go ahead and click the bell so if you're on YouTube, so you'll know the notifications when we come on. We're here most Sundays, but sometimes we have special events through the week. You don't want to miss any of the talks and conversations we have. We have business conversations with business people from around the world. So you're going to enjoy this. Today, I am so happy to be with my guest. We're going to talk about lifting as you climb. And before we get to her, I need to tell you two things to make my staff, my team happy. First of all, if you are interested in finding out how to get grants for your business, then in the wherever you're watching this, in the description, you'll see a link on how to connect with me so I can help you to get grants and great opportunities. Make you aware what that is. Also, if you are a minority or woman-owned business and you're looking to get certified, if you've tried it for yourself and you know it is a whole process, but if you tried it for yourself and you need a little hand holding, I do that. Go ahead and make the appointment and let's get together on how I can help you to get your certification so you can get to the money. That's what we're doing. Now, all of that is the housekeeping. I'm done with that. I want to introduce you to my guest. I want to introduce you to Kate. Kate, I am not going to butcher your last name.
Oh, come on. It's so easy.
I'm sure it is, but baby, I'm not doing it. So tell them who you are.
So I'm Kate. Kate, she is great. The last name is Juozaitis. That is spelled with a J, which is why she is just Kate. Kate, she is great.
Yes, I'm not going to butcher it. I'm not.
No.
So tell them about Kate. So what is Lift While You Climb?
Lift as You Climb is my coaching program, and it is an homage to my younger days of having been a first responder and leaving no man behind, but in my case, it's leave no woman behind. So Lift as You Climb is a relationship coaching program where I help women at the crossroads of their relationship make solid decisions and move on with their life.
I love that. I love that you've done that toward women. And why is it important, do you think?
I honestly, having been a therapist for more than 20 years, I am a divorce mediator for more than 10 years. And I'm also a certified trained AASECT sex therapist and educator. With all of those years of experiences, I've unfortunately seen the good, bad, and the ugly of relationships. And women often, I would say, make more emotional decisions that really cost them in the end. So they're not ready to move on when they should be, and they stall themselves, and then somebody else gets to the punch, unfortunately, and they pay a price that way. Or the most, I guess the largest price that women pay is they stay too long. So time is of the essence. And you know what? We're not getting any younger. We're not getting any prettier. So
I am refining.
I'm grateful. I am not. I am Botoxing. So I need help.
I love it. I love it. So in this world of catfishing, like you hear all the different stories. Oh, and if you watch like the Hulu movies or the documentaries on Netflix, and you hear about these people who have lost their life savings and they've lost so much in these relationships. Now is a great time to have these conversations, right?
Yeah. Well, and there's such a push. Us women, we're not anything unless we're in a relationship or a mom. We just don't count, and that's unfortunate. So there's such a push for women to be in relationships, and oftentimes when they're not in the right headspace to be in a relationship or to really ask or on some level demand what it is that they really want. Women are still, unfortunately, playing too small. I mean, we've gotten better. We've gotten bold. But there's still an awful lot of women that just play too small and they don't learn how to just take up space.
Exactly. I was learning about, it's just 1974 where we could get credit. Like the whole way the society was set up was not for us to have an independence.
No.
not anything outside of a relationship.
Right. Or outside of the home.
Yeah.
I've had recently I had somebody ask me if I did anything outside of the home, and I was like just dumbfounded. I was like, I don't know what that means. And they're just like, well, do you have an actual job? I was like, oh wow. Oh, yeah, two.
Yeah, own businesses, oh ma'am. But yeah, and that's the thing is because some women, and it's not as it's not as uncommon for women to not see their worth, still
No.
not understand that they have a role to play, and that's a front row instead of a back row. I was talking to
Yep.
one of my nieces the other day, and she was like, "Well, yeah, I'm pretty much okay with being in the background, but she is such a warrior,
Yeah.
and her whole story is going to change the world, but people have to know she's out there first."
Right. No, 100%. I think it's so unfortunate. Like people want to fit in. Like that's the message we get all the time. Like just fit in. And like my message to no, stand out.
Yeah,
Please. Like your whole point in life is not to just blend in with everybody else. Your whole point is to stand out, be loud, be proud, make a huge impact, make a splash, a huge one.
yeah, and that's the thing because I tell her and others that it's hard to get in and fit in when you were born to be outstanding.
Yep.
Like you were born to be outstanding because all of us have our own life's journeys.
Mm-hmm.
And from our life's journeys, we've picked up a few tidbits, a few things that can help. I was telling you earlier, you're the shortcut.
Yes.
Like we were designed to be the shortcut. And so when we don't stand up and take our role in life, the people who need us stay stuck in spending.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they take the longest road possible. Like I feel like I've done that just so that I know what the longest road possible is, so that I can tell people you don't have to do it that way.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. But I truly believe once you have made it out of your trauma, out of your stress, out of whatever that was, you become the guide for other people. And so the onus is on you to share the story. No, you don't have to go that way. Let me show you a shortcut.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Everybody needs, I mean, we all want the easy button. So there are people who hey, I'm the guide. I've got the flashlight. I know the path. Like, just come on. Come on.
Yeah, just come on. Yeah, come and get in. And that's the thing. So what women should be looking to you for services?
So the women I really want to work with are they've been married or in a relationship for some time, and I would say they're probably at that 7-year itch mark, though it's actually 6. We don't even get to the 7 years anymore. That's just how relationships are working out. But they're not happy. They don't want to leave, but they don't know what else to do. They can't get their significant other to participate in the process. So it's really how they can change their own mindset and then help them navigate. The harder decision is, do you reinvest in the relationship and keep trying, or do you just say, hey, I need to cut my losses? And how can you do that in such an effective way that you're not paying an emotional price?
Yeah.
Right? Divorce is a twofold grief process. So you grieve it while you're in the divorce process. And then once everything is signed, documented, sealed, and delivered by the judge, it is a second wave of grief.
Absolutely. And if you want to not divorce, like that to me is the end of the road, right?
Oh, sure.
If you want to reclaim who you are in that relationship, then is that possible?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Women don't realize how often they lose themselves in their relationships, whether it's being a wife, a mom, a girlfriend, that they just kind of like give it all away. And there's so much mentality. I've had so many women come in and they're just like, well, I can fix them, or it's my job to fix them. And it's like, No, hands are going to spin your wheels there. And that's okay. I understand why you feel that way. But at the same time, it's like, no, if you choose you first and you make yourself happy, the rest of the relationship really can fall in place. Or
Absolutely.
you are going to have a better, clearer visual of whether or not this is something that you want to continue. Because you have to take a step back and you have to measure it. Like, is what I'm doing having an impact? And if you step back and go, it is not, great. Take that information.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing is assessing where you are.
Yeah.
Like checking in with yourself.
Yep.
Not necessarily. A lot of times we look for other people to empower us, or other people to lift us up, or other people, our happiness, or other people. We look out there for things that we really should fix in here.
Yep.
And I like earlier you were talking about the mindset, right? And you were
Oh,
talking about your other program, right? That deals help people get their minds right. Because isn't that where it starts? Is how
yeah.
we see ourselves and how we think.
And our brain is such a powerful like muscle, honestly. Like what you tell yourself, you believe.
Yeah.
And so the things people don't realize how often they are reaffirming these negative things to themselves on a daily basis. I've had, whether it's patients or coaching clients, look in the mirror and tell themselves the absolute shittiest things. And I was like, look at yourself and say it. And they're like, but I can't. And it's like, but you say it to yourself regularly. Why can't look at myself and say it? Why? Well, it's painful. Okay, great. So then the answer is stop it. Just stop that. You can, if there's 7 billion people in the world today and they're all willing to kick us in the you know where and we're hard about it too, I was like, you have to be your own cheerleader. You have to learn how to be a hero in your own story.
Absolutely. I tell them you have to be a part of your own rescue.
Yes.
Like, you can't be on the sidelines and you're wanting to be rescued.
Right.
You have to actually be a participant in that. And so learning how to be a participant, learning how to stand up, because it feels icky, right? It's change.
Mm-hmm.
It's change in how you think. It's rewiring,
Yes.
unlearning. Like it's taking off somebody else's emphasis of you and becoming who you were meant to be. And that can be difficult.
Oh, sure. Everybody resists change. Everybody does, because it's there's always a fear, right? If I change, this is the devil I know. I know how it's always going to play out. If I change, I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know what the outcome is. I don't know if I can tolerate it. But you have to change that. I can tolerate anything.
Yeah. And what a relief and a release to be able to be happy with yourself, because it's miserable living, but it's you're actually leading a fraudulent life that cannot feel well.
No.
Like, you're having to be somebody else. You're having to cower down. You're having to shut up when you have things to say.
Yes.
Like, you're having to be a lesser version of yourself.
To keep the peace.
Yeah.
Don't forget that you're doing it all to keep the peace. While there's a war raging inside
of you. Yes.
It never makes sense to me. Like, no, like if you're in a relationship, you should always be able to say the ugly things. My grandmother, and I show you a picture, but it's in the other room. But my grandmother, and she was a very wise woman. Her name was Dorothy Ruth Rorty. And she used to tell me, like, you only hurt the ones you love. She was so smart. And here's 3 reasons why. 1, you can, right? It's proximity. If I love you, you're going to be close to me. So I got you. 2, you know how. So because they're people that we love, we know all the buttons to push inside of them. We know exactly what to get them going. 3, and this is the most important part, and it's actually the part most people skip over. It is that I'm going to hold your hand through it all until we are both okay.
Until we're both okay.
Mm-hmm.
Until we're both okay. Like, how much trust and fortitude does that take for you to tell somebody, yo, we're gonna have some sticky parts, and yeah, I'm gonna say the wrong thing, and yeah, you're gonna do the wrong thing, but we're gonna hold hands and see this one out.
Yeah, all the time. That's the commitment that you're supposed to be making.
Yeah.
I am absolutely, I'm going to hurt your feelings. I am vowing to hurt your feelings because I'm going to, right? And it's not out of malice. It's really because hurt feelings also means growth.
Absolutely. And we were not meant to be the yes corner.
Oh, you weren't?
When you're wrong, I adore people who can tell me no. People won't tell me no. And
Really?
I hate that. I hate that
Oh.
because it doesn't give me the opportunity to become a better person.
Right.
If you tell me no and then say, well, Linda, no, because, and help me to understand, you just poured into me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I hate to be around people who can't say no to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've probably had more relationships fall off because, like, are you ready to hear what I'm going to say? And they're all like, no, I'm going to have to tell you anyhow, because that's the kind of friend I am.
Because they want to hear the truth. And
Right.
I'm going to be the truth speaker. I'm not going to sit and and they be like, well, you'll just go ahead and tell people. Yeah, and I expect you to go ahead and tell me too. It's a two-way, like I can take it as much as I can give it.
Right.
But I think if you're going to have a true relationship with anybody, you can't walk on eggshells. You can't.
So many people do, though.
Oh, it's horrible.
I mean, right now, I will tell you the young people getting married, and God, I love them. They're in love with the idea of love. Oh,
I know.
They've all been sold a fairy tale, and they're just like, well, love conquers it all. I'm like,
no. It takes more than that.
Yeah,
it takes more than love sometimes. Yeah,
I'm sorry, but it's going to take hard work, and then it's what's that mean? You have to. I don't like. I'm avoidant of conflict, and I was like, all conflict is you have a set of thoughts, feelings, ideas, and past experiences that help you understand how you navigate life. And I have the same. I have my own thoughts, feelings, experiences that have shaped me. Here's what a conflict is. Yours are different than mine. And all we're going to do is share them.
Yeah.
And we're going to find the things that we have in common. And then we're going to have to walk ourselves through the things that we don't have in common so that we understand the other person. Not that I'm changing them.
No, it's not about change. And that's the thing, is a lot of women go in relationships, like you were saying, I can change him.
Oh, God.
I can make him who I want him to be.
Yes. Or I see his potential. If he doesn't see the potential, it doesn't matter if you see it.
Because he's not going to get it. He's not going to get it.
No.
And it's going to be a pain in your side. You're like, why won't he change? He's being who he is.
Yes. He has already shown you that. So why do you, if you don't love him for exactly how he shows up, like, don't expect to change it.
Then he's not the one. That's the hard part.
And that's what people, but he's good on paper. I've heard that so many times. On paper, he's perfect. And I was like,
I've heard a business is good on paper, but I've looked behind the curtain and seen that they weren't.
No, but I'm like, if it's good on paper, but it's not in real life, I'm like, why are you signing up for that? Don't. Or I can see into the future where they will change. I want the crystal ball. It's not real. No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, is you have to know your worth.
Oh, yeah.
You have to know what you bring to the table. And you have to understand that you're worthy of love. You're worthy of being in a relationship that's not tumultuous. You are worthy of being happy.
Oh, sure.
But it's looking outside of yourself for that happiness that gets you in trouble.
Yeah. It's not predictable. And that's the hard thing for people to understand. Like, love out validation and everything outside of us is unpredictable. And people are always going to people us. And what I mean by that, people are always going to fail us. They're always going to be peopling.
Because they're people.
Right. Because they're people. Right? They're flawed. Like, just how we expect them to be. I'm flawed. I'm like,
we all are. And so that's the thing, is it doesn't make, just because it's different doesn't make it bad.
Right.
And I love one of my elders, my G mom. My G mom was my advisor, God bless her soul. But she said, I had to realize that my parents didn't raise him.
Right.
And so his moral code may be different.
Oh, 100%. People's values are always different.
Yeah. And so understanding that your parents didn't raise the world, and there are going to be people in the world.
I don't care if they were on the same block. Like, no.
Hey, your parents didn't raise the people in the same house the same way.
Oh, that's facts. That's facts. People
Because-
have a hard time understanding that too. Like, your siblings were all raised by very different parents in the same household.
And see, I didn't understand that, but I have 3 sons, and I interact with my 3 sons 3 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a parent, you adjust yourself to your child. And the way you can't, they're not cookie cut children. They all have their own personalities, their own likes, their own dislikes. Like, they are their own person. So as a parent, you figure out how to talk to them and interact with them 3 different ways.
Right. Or you should be.
Or 10 different ways if you have 10 kids. Like,
right.
But each child is different. Each interaction is different. And so my kids, they used to say, oh, they always called my oldest one my award word. That's your award winning son.
Oh my God. He's got the most work.
Well, we've been together the longest because,
Right.
Yeah, he came 10 years before the second one. So we've spent a long time together. And so he was already up and grown, 10 when the next one was born, and then 14 by the time the last one came. But he was always the one that he already knew me. He had a 10-year leap on how I expected things to go. And so
then you were evolving in the process.
Yeah. We grew up together, right? We grew up together. So they were always, but then as they become older, now they're adults, and now they have their own kids. Well, my middle one has his own children, and he's like, oh, now it's making sense, because his 3 kids are all different.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, you learn as you grow, but it's understanding people. I say this all the time. I was a choir director for a number of years, and I could not. My choir members were from 5 to in the 70s.
Oh wow!
And yeah, it was
5. That's
from
a big
5. Okay. I had a youth choir. Yeah, I had a youth choir, and then I had a middle choir. Then I had a mass choir. Then I had the men. But I had all these different personalities, and that's what you learn is you can't come the same way with everybody.
No.
And so that's the same thing in relationships. You have to understand what people's love languages are, how they communicate, how they take in information. Like, so much to learn. So
you have to know that much just about yourself before you learn that about anybody else. And most people skip that step. They're like, why do I have to know that about myself? I'm like, oh, you're the most important person in this whole structure. You're the main character. You have to know these things about yourself. You should want to know these things.
And that's the thing. We spend time learning people around us. Like, that's a whole course, learning people around us. But we don't take the time to learn ourselves and our likes and our dislikes and why I do this. And a lot of times, the studies show that we are operating from a trauma between the ages of 6 and 10. So we don't forget all about that. It just became a part of our makeup. And so we're not even investigating, why do I do that? Like, where did it come from?
Right.
We don't get to know who we are. We have a surface relationship with ourselves.
Yes. Oh, 100%. 100%. And then we expect other people to have the answers for us.
Who met us in whatever chapter of our lives.
Right. In whatever evolution. Yeah. Like, no, they still don't know more than you. Like, you are the writer of your own story. It is your pen. It is your paper. It is your ink.
And it's your job to know who you are.
Yeah.
Because you're setting the stage for everything.
Yep.
And so understanding that. So I love that your program is going to help people to uncover who they are.
Yeah. And so they can really live their best life in joy and happiness, light and love.
I love that. So talk about Live As You Climb. What is that? So they come to you. They are these people
women.
What does it look? What can they look forward to?
My coaching program
Mm-hmm.
is 6 weeks long, and having them do some deep dives on themselves and where they are in their relationship and where they would like to be in their relationship, and then navigate either a step-by-step, like um, uh, interventions that they can engage in, or if we get halfway through the program and they start now taking what they've learned about themselves and looking then outward at their relationship, make a decision on whether or not they need to pivot. So, and then if that ends up being the choice, since I'm at the crossroads, I can either help you continue to re-engage in the relationship in a different way, being more clear and concise in your communication and what you want the relationship to look like and how to navigate that, or help them navigate an uncoupling in a really healthy way that doesn't cause people to just have like the whole world turned upside down. That's the really painful part. Is I've had people in the past say they're like, oh, you're anti-marriage or anti-committed relationship. And I was like, no, I'm anti people doing dumb things. And that sounds terrible. And I know that, but I'm like, it happens so often. And our problem is like, once we get stuck in that, like,
Exactly. Yeah.
we just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to kind of like unstuck ourselves. So it's that outside perspective that is like my reaching hand in and saying, I got you. Let me pull you out of the quicksand. Now, let's renegotiate like our path, because clearly straight through we're just going to continue to drown. So let's find somewhere else.
I love it. I love it. And so the other side of that is they're going toward their healing, and that stress, that feeling. I mean, it has to be icky. Again, not knowing who you are, not understanding who you are, and how did you get to
Or
heal?
how you got there.
Yeah.
I mean, that for most people is very distressing, is because they're like, how did I get here? I've had a lot of women on the phone like talking about this, and they're just like, well, I've been with this person for fill in the X amount of years. And they're like, how did I get here? Like, how did I get so lost in this relationship that now I'm drowning? I'm so unhappy. I'm just at this crossroads. And I was just like, the how and the why doesn't necessarily, it's what do you want to do from here moving forward? Because we're not going to unring the bell. We're not going to rewrite chapters. We can't. Lots of people would love to. I would love for people to be able to do that. But, unfortunately, you can't. So it's what do you want to do from this point forward? And like, let's look ahead, but make it manageable too.
Absolutely.
That's people get very overwhelmed when they think of relationships, and it's like, well, it's just happily ever after till death do us part. Like, that's a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, we read that, in Cinderella and all the fairy tales, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and they lived happily ever after.
No, they did not. They did not. He was dropping dirty socks near the hamper, leaving dirty dishes in the sink.
He was getting on her nerves.
Right. They weren't happy. They tolerated each other.
I know it. When people say, yes, my parents have been together 70 years, I be thinking, have mercy.
I've had people that live in separate states. I mean, they've been married for 50 years, but they live in separate states. And I was like, that seems like a really good arrangement.
I know it. In separate houses.
Yeah.
I saw a poll somewhere that said, is it right to have separate houses?
No, why? Like,
and I'm like, it's not one size fit all. It's whatever floats your boat.
But yeah, do what works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%.
Exactly. And so as we get ready to close, what would you like the takeaway to be for anyone watching this interview?
Oh, wow. The takeaway to, like, you can pivot at any point. Honestly, I'm like, and I think that I just want to help. That is probably my biggest thing. It's the super sleuth in me. It's the first responder. I just want to help. And I really do want to help people find their happiness. So that we only get one turn on this globe. And and we just need to be in love with our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want more people to be in love with their life.
I love that. And that's the whole thing. I attended an Oprah session. It was building the life that you love.
Hmm.
And we all have the ability to do that, to
We
create
do.
life, to
And
create
again,
what you
we
love.
our outsides and our insides, like we tell ourselves we're not allowed to be so happy.
Mm,
And it's an internal thing. Like the moment you're really happy, most people almost immediately do something to sabotage that, because our
mm,
natural belief, because of everything we're taught, is that we can't be too happy.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, it's a false narrative. We can,
Absolutely.
and you deserve to be happy.
Absolutely. That part right there. I love that. Well, thank you for joining me. And
Thanks
as I
for having me.
close, my name is Linda Murray Bullock. They call me the business plug. We've just been talking about Lift That You Climb. Go ahead and reach out to Kate in any of the links that are wherever you're watching this video. And we'll join you here next Sunday on the Business Plugs Mixer. Thank you all for joining and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.